Hey, Tobiah Walter from NextGen T here again. So I've been thinking, I've watching a lot of videos out there that say how to pass the new CCNA, or this is how I passed the new CCNA, or tips and tricks to pass the new CCNA. All of those videos are created by people who are seasoned IT professionals, maybe 10, 15, even 30 years experience in the industry. And while that's all well and good for people that have IT experience to get a little better and pass the CCNA, what does that do for the people that are trying to go from zero to engineer? The people that are trying to break into IT. So that's why I wanted to go out and find somebody who's been in NextGen T training and has been able to pass the CCNA. And so I went out and I got a student that's CCNA certified now in a very short time, and he has little to no IT experience. So I hope you enjoyed this interview. All right, so like I said, I wanted to talk to somebody new to the industry, not someone who'd been in the industry for years. So can you go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know who you are?
Yeah, my name is Nathan Nicely, and I come from the Richmond, Virginia area, and I'm an aspiring network engineer.
So you say aspiring. Can you just tell me a little bit about your background in IT specifically?
Yeah, sure. So I started working in AV as a kid, and I've always built computers, and I've always run cabling, stuff like that. Always had a good time doing that. And I just kind of realized that was my passion, and I wanted to jump into the industry. And I was really looking for an opportunity to really level up and to get my career to the next level.
So you don't actually have any experience in the IT industry, working in the IT industry?
I have no IT industry experience. That's correct.
Okay, so having no IT industry experience, you've probably been studying for a long time, preparing for the CCNA. So how long exactly did you spend from the time you started studying to the time where you passed your CCNA?
A whole 2.5 months.
That's extremely fast. That's amazing. I mean, congratulations for that. It's got to be awesome to be a CCNA, to have leveled up, like you said. So what training did you use to be able to knock that out in such a short period of time?
The biggest piece of training that I used was NextGen T. NextGen T and the official Cert guides, and a whole lot of packet tracer labs.
Yeah, so where did you find those packet tracer labs specifically?
YouTube, Google, just a lot of free resources out there that are open source if you just search it, really.
Awesome. So 2.5 months ago, you started, going through NextGen T training, and you used the Cert guides, like you said, which is great. Did you use Cisco's official Cert guides?
I did. I used the Wendell Odom's Volume 1 and Volume 2.
Okay, awesome. And then just some Google foo on the back end to find packet tracer labs, whether it be on YouTube or other places. That's really cool. So there's no way, though, that's the only reason why you experience certification success so quickly. So what are some other strategies that you specifically used to be able to just accelerate your timeline and be able to pass this CCNA as quickly as you did?
Yeah, I would say the first thing that I did was just a passion and a drive to get it done. I kind of made it a priority in my life while I'm working full-time, while I have 3 kids and married. I have a busy life. I volunteer 15 hours a week outside of that. But I just decided, if we're going to do this, let's do it. Let's be 1,000% in. Let's tackle this thing and let's get it done with, and move on to what's next in the industry.
Wow. So what specific, so you obviously had to focus. That was something you said, you had to make it a priority, but what upon that, past that, did you do to just really, get this thing done? What was kind of the I guess, top 3 strategies that you used?
I'd say one of the main ones was time management. Not something that I'm particularly good at, but I kind of realized how much time I actually do have during the day, even working, even having kids. If you really look at your schedule, you do have a lot of time throughout the day that you can devote to studying and not scrolling through Instagram.
I think we can all benefit from a little time management every now and again. What else did you do?
I really had to set a study routine, and I really had to figure out what studying meant for me and how that process looked in my life. I think it looks different in everyone's life, but for me, I really had to figure out a system of studying. I had to figure out a comfort level. Where do I study? I had to figure out how I absorb the information the best. And I had to figure out what ways I could get this massive amount of information to stay in my head and not forget it as soon as I walked away from the books.
And so what would you say would be the best way to really, just the routine, or is there something specific you did to really get that information to stick? Because that is really, you look at this test and you see it in front of you. I mean, what were you thinking? Right at the beginning, I got this test in front of me. I got all this information. Like, that had to be daunting.
Oh, it was overwhelming to think about it, to think about the time frame that I had to complete the test and the amount of questions. And it was really nerve-wracking. But I really figured out two major things to help me just memorize and absorb the information. The first one is acronyms. If I could come up with an acronym for anything, I came up with an acronym for it. And it really was amazing. Almost immediately, I could remember a list if I could make an acronym out of it. And it would be the dumbest acronyms. But it was because they were so outlandish, the easier they were for me to remember. And the second thing was I came up with a charting system. I had my desk up against the wall. And when I would watch a Next Gen T video, I would jot down all the important things about that topic. And I would put that on the wall right in front of me. And every time I came across that subject, any subject on that piece of paper, I would immediately look up and reference that piece of paper and read it through. And usually if I did that, probably by the end of the day, I could have almost all the information on that piece of paper memorized.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's a really good one. I never really thought about that. And for someone who hasn't been in the IT industry to say they love acronyms, you're going to fit right in. You're going to fit right in. We love acronyms in the IT industry. All right. So that's two things. What's the third thing? What's the last thing you can really give, the strategy that's just going to really drive this thing home for people?
So I would say consistency and not being concerned when you do fall off the study wagon. Give yourself some space to distance for a little while, because at some point your mind just needs to relax and you need to give your mind some time to just continue to absorb. But also make sure you tell yourself, okay, at this point, I'm getting back into studying, and give yourself that time limit, and then make sure you jump back in. The longer you stay out of it, the harder it is to get back into it.
Yeah, so you absolutely have to refocus. But you didn't completely fall off the study wagon at any point. What was the thing that you really did to make sure that in this short period of time, you were going to take the test and pass it?
I set a deadline and I scheduled the exam. I looked at my time frame and I said, I think I can study in this time frame. And then I scheduled the exam, and really I put skin in the game. And when there's skin in the game, and when you know that deadline's coming, that was the biggest motivator for me to just buckle down and continue pushing through all the material.
So you've given us the three main tips. You said you got to have time management, which everybody needs. You hit the twofold win of the acronyms as well as charting as you're watching the Next Gen T videos, and then you set that deadline. You made sure and set that deadline so that skin of the game had to get it done. I mean, that's a great strategy book on how to do this. Is there anything else, any last tips that you would like to put out there for anybody watching this video who's saying, I don't have any experience. I don't know what to do. What's the tip that really just that you could give for the people watching?
Consistency trumps intensity. Jump in there, stay with it, and keep grinding. And you can do it. You can get it done. It's not impossible. It looks like it at first, but you can do it. And really, this is just the beginning of your study habits for the future. It doesn't end with the CCNA. It doesn't end with getting that first job. This industry is a constant journey of learning. And so if you can figure out these study habits and time management skills now, it's going to benefit you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, you definitely have to learn how to learn, right, Nathan? That's super important. Well, Nathan, thank you so much, man, for taking time just to talk to me. And there's going to be so many people out there I know that when they see this test and they see the idea of getting their CCNA, they're going to be like, how do I do this? And yeah, they may watch a video and see some really accomplished person get their CCNA and think, well, yeah, obviously they did. But Nathan, you did it with no experience in the industry, with just these basic tips and strategies, and through the use of Next Gen T training, we're able to knock out the CCNA in 2.5 months. That's right. 2.5 months. Then I want to thank you again for your time. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, so there you have it. That's how you can pass the CCNA with little to no experience. Nathan nicely just laid it out for you perfectly. Time management, acronyms and charting, consistency trumps intensity, and set a deadline. You have to book that test. Look, if you're at the beginning of this, I know it seems daunting. I know that taking that test seems almost impossible. And Nathan said that he felt the same way. But through Next Gen T training and through those 4 tips and tricks, you can pass the CCNA yourself. You can level up and become a rock star engineer. All right, I'll talk to you all again real soon.
Jacob Hess here. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you really enjoyed it. And I'd also like to remind you, if you're truly serious about your career in information technology, be sure to check out our IT engineer training programs at www.zerotoengineer.com.